We all are doing many courses, including different technologies, different professional certificates, but still we are not able to crack some of the interviews. Do you know what is the reason? The reason is we are not practicing. To practice all the stuff, we have to do some of the case studies. So, if you are a beginner or if you are a freshers in this data world, you have to do some practice, and with that practice, you can explain all the journey of a analytical project or data engineering project or any data pipeline project, data ingestion, data integration, or data migration project. So, everywhere you have to understand the complete data flow. Hello everyone, this is Arpita. Welcome to Arpita's Tech Corner. In this video, I'm going to explain to you from with a one case study with a data set how you can do your own case study project, how you can build this complete data pipeline from data source to your final data visualization and get some insights. So thank you. Thanks for coming to my channel, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let's go to the case study. Okay. So what exactly is our objective from this case study? How we will do all the step-by-step process. First, we will identify one free data sources. We know there are many data sources, but for this project, we will identify one of the very good source of data and which is free. Then from that data sources, we will identify what exactly it has the domain skill, and to understand the data, the purpose of the data, and the business needs. Then we will set up the environments. Like for this project, I'm going to use Snowflakes and Power BI. Then we have this data ingestion process. What does it mean by data ingestion process? Like how we will import this raw data from the data source to this data storage area. Then we'll just check some quality check for this raw data. Then we design the transform data model. Like if we have the raw data and we want to transform it to analytical data model, that is our olap data model. And then we'll develop this transformation code that will be in SQL. Then we'll deploy the code and generate the required table to support our report generation process. Then finally, we will import this process data, that means our analytical data tables, to the Power BI and model accordingly. Then we'll create some of the reports, okay, for our business needs. So, and finally, we'll understand what all the things we have to do if we want to implement this project in an industry. So for us, case study here is like our proof of concept, that POC project. So any research and development area, we are doing this POC work. And finally, once the POC is successful, then we are doing this industrialization. So I will show you what are the steps, the highlights of all the steps, what exactly we are doing for this industrialization. So let's start with some data flow. Make it clear what exactly you're doing. Okay. First, you have this source data. In this case, we are going to select the source data Snowflake's marketplace. So we know there are many free data sources like Kaggle and all those stuff, Data World. But I found the Snowflake's marketplace has a very good free data source and it's very useful for the business. Okay. Then we'll transform this data, I mean to say the ingest the data to the data storage area of the Snowflakes itself. Okay. So view, and that will come as a view, so that is our raw data. And finally, we'll transform this raw data to the analytical tables within the Snowflakes only. So this complete process we will done within the Snowflakes environment. That will be our SQL script. Okay, we'll use the SQL script. You can use the Python script also, but I'm trying to make it simple with the SQL script, how we can implement this complete data engineering process. Okay. And finally, we will have these analytical tables that will be our input for our Power BI desktop. Here I'm going to use the Power BI desktop, but if you have access in the Power BI web service or fabric area, you can publish this Power BI desktop code to this web area, and that will be accessible to our user. So this is a complete data flow. Understand this data flow and we'll process the next step. Then we have to do our set up our environment. So using the Snowflake's trial account, you can set up your environment. So I've used and it's a very step by step process. It's a very self explanatory process. Then you can install the Power BI desktop locally. Okay, now I will go to the Snowflakes directly. This is my Snowflake's environment. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we can go for this marketplace area. In the left panel, you have this Snowflake's marketplace. Just click on this marketplace. And in this case study, I'm going to use some life science data. Okay. So I will start with some gene variant. Okay. Let's search it. And here we have a we have the free data source, free to try, by request. You can request that one. So I'm going to use the free data source. So this is our pediatric autism and epilepsy genetic variant data. Let's go to this data set and see here we have some description about the data. Then so in this data set, we have two schema, this variant table we have, and this gene phenotype table. So you can go through this data set, and if you have any doubt about this business terminology, then I would suggest just Google it, or you can do the chat GPT. So from there you will understand what exactly is this. So we know about the gene. Okay, gene we have some idea. So this is some high level idea from this data set, gene data, and this is a human phenotype ontology name. So you can go through. I'm not going to explain here to all the business terminology here, but make it clear. We have two tables, that is in the raw tables data. One is the gene phenotype, another is the variant data, and both the tables I will show you how it has been connected. What is the business need we have? These dataset can be used to provide summary statistics on variant frequencies, phenotypes, and distribution across genes, or used for investigate the clinical significance of individual genetic changes. Okay, and here we have some of the column name, gene, this HPO name. Basically this is the phenotype name only, and it's the ID, and this is the total count. Okay, so if you see the total count description, here we have the number of times the specific gene is associated with the specific phenotype. Okay, so this is the phenotype. Now you have another table, that is variant. We have the gene, so that means the two tables are connected with the gene, C dot, P dot, variant classification, inheritance pattern, and this zygosity. Okay, I'm not sure what exactly is this, but yes, we can Google it definitely later on. So this is a complete data set understanding. Now it's time to import the data. Let's click on the get. Here you'll have this different option. I'm not going to put a big name for this, so let me remove this one and just type it as a raw. Okay, and click on this get button. Okay, done. Now I'm sure you want to see how the data is imported. So go to catalog, you have this database explorer, and here you can see this raw genetic variant data. So that means it's a very easy that from we have the data source, that is a Snowflake's marketplace, and from there we are getting this raw data. So your ingestion step is done. Okay, you have this ingestion step. So in the public schema, you have this two views. You can see the data. Here we have and the variant table. Okay, so two steps are done. We identify the data source, we ingest the data. Okay, let's open a SQL script. I will open a SQL script and we'll validate something. So I have written down the script to do the process faster. Okay, first, as per the Snowflake's rule, we need to do some setting of our environment. We can click on here also, but I'm going to use this query. So this is our first after ingestion. Okay, okay. So my database name is raw genetic variant data. Let me go to the worksheet again. Okay, I just changed the database name. So I just need to change all the stuff here. Okay, so first set up your environment. Okay, done. Now I want to see the data, just a top 10 record about this gene phenotype table. Okay, so here is the data. Similar way, let us check. So this is your raw data validation process. Okay, or you can say the raw data quality check process, something like that. Just checking your raw data. Now, I want to check how many rows we have for this variant table. Yes, we have 19722. That is the number of records we have. And for the gene phenotype table, how many rows we have? Um, okay, so here I put that where gene is null. So it's a cross check. You can see whether is there any missing value because the gene is a very important column for both the tables. Okay, because we are joining these two tables based on the gene. So I'm checking here, is there any null value for the gene? So it's a 0. So that means our missing value methodology we can check from here itself. Now let me check what is the total count for this gene phenotype table. If you remember, we have this total count column, that is our frequency column. Okay, so we have 67378. Okay, why I'm checking this? Because we, after transforming the data to the analytical data model, it's very important to validate your data from the raw data to the analytical data, whether your transformation logic is really working well or not. Okay, this is a very important steps you have to follow every time for any data pipeline, any data integration or data transformation project. You have to follow this step. Okay, this is the number of other columns except the gene column from the variant table. Oh, I did the same mistake. Okay, this is 19364. So yeah, we have done. Now next step. Now when we are doing the data transformation, before that we have to do some data model because we have this OLTP data set, okay, and we want to convert it to OLAP data model. That is our star schema data model and analytical data model. How it can be look like, okay? I have here, if you see, we have these two tables and the relationships key is gin. Now we are going to transform it to three dimension table and two fact table. One dimension is our phenotype, which will have the information about the phenotype information. Another is the gene information. Another is the variant. And phenotype and gene both will connect with this fact, and the gene table and variant table will be connected with this fact variant. So this is the data model. Before implementing your data transformation step, you have to implement this data model. Okay, let's go back to the Snowflake's environment. Here, I'm going to create another worksheet. So before creating the data model, though, so we have to create five tables, three dimensions and two fact table. For that, let's get with the create table command. So I have written down the create table command. I'm sure you have some knowledge on the SQL script, definitely. So for that purpose, I'm not going through all the SQL queries one by one. So I have written down somewhere and that's pasted here to make it fast. And we have this. First, we have to create one database. Now, in this case, as we are using the Snowflake's marketplace data, so we cannot modify that database. So I'm preferring to create a separate database for your analytical data model. Okay, so now we will run all the create statement. Let's check the first step. Okay, it has been created. I'm doing one by one. You can do it at a stretch, but for better explanation, I'm trying to do one by one. Okay, now we have this. Okay, so our five analytical tables are created. If you want to check it, just go to this database explorer, and here you can see our database schema is there. Sorry, database is there, and this is our analytical schema. Under that analytical schema, we have five tables that is ready. Okay, now it's time to insert the data. Again, go back to worksheet. Here you can see we have two worksheet. So I will create another SQL worksheet. Later on, you can rename all the worksheet. Okay. Now I will copy the insert statement. Okay, so these are all insert statement. Before executing the insert statements, let's set up our environment. Okay, our environment is ready. Let's populate the dimension, that our gene dimension. So for the gene dimension, what we are going to do, because we have seen that in the variant table and the phenotype table, both in both the table we have this gene column. But if we want to make sure whether we are covering all the gene data from both the tables or not, so that's the reason I'm using this union clause. So here I just need to change the s- database name. So this is my database name. Okay, so you have to be very sure about all the naming stuff. Okay, let's run this query. Okay, okay, you can see we have 3071 gene data has been inserted. Now I need to, this is our second table, that is our phenotype table, where If you observe here, I'm not selecting the id column because in the create statement already I have used the id column as a auto increment. So in snowflakes you can use the auto increment. So normally you have heard about the sequence column, that row sequence, auto indexion kind of, sorry, the auto population of the index column. So that is the auto increment. Here I'm running this query. Now this is our variant dimension table. I populated 17572. Okay. Now we have this fact table. I just had a look. Okay. What all the column names we have there, whether I'm doing the right thing or not. It's very important. Otherwise, your data transformation logic will be wrong. Okay. After putting so much effort, and the end of the result will be not in a right way. So, yeah, obviously, we have to double check. So this is our fact table. In the fact table, obviously, this is our phenotype and the, that means our phenotype dimension and the gene dimension. That's table. We have to use the gene phenotype raw data. Then I'm going to populate the gene ID from the dimension table, phenotype ID from the phenotype dimension table. So let's run the query. We have 18684 rows. Okay. This is the second fact table. Let's run it. Okay. If you remember, we have this number in our 19364. Okay. It's very last, whatever the count we have validated. Do you remember that query? Yes. So here, see our last query 19364. And here for this fact table we have 19364. So we are in the right path. Okay. Let's, here also I have written all the queries so that I will not forget to check the count. Let's see. This is our fact table count. We have 67378. Now this is our raw data total count. Oops, sorry. I just need to change the schema. Every time I'm doing this mistake. 67378. Relax. We are in the right path. Okay. So now our tables are ready for our Power BI report. So this is our Power BI desktop area. From there, from the get data section, if you go to more and if you type Snowflake, okay. So here in the server section, you just need to add the Snowflake's account identifier area. Okay. Let me show you how we can find this one. This server location, you just need to go to Snowflake's environment, and from there, if you go to your account details information, you will find this account identifier. Okay, and just copy this account identifier and just paste it here and go. Then you have to give the warehouse name as a compute wh, that is your warehouse name, and okay. If you place the okay, it will ask for your id and password, then provide the password. So I have already done this thing. So after that, you need to import all your tables from the your snowflake schema, and from there you can create all the reports whatever I have created so far. However, there are many scopes to create different type of reports, but my purpose was to showcase to you all the data pipeline, whatever the process we have to do for any data analytical project or any data transformation, data integration project. So what are the steps we need to follow? So this is our final step, that is our data visualization area. Here we have this dimension and fact table. And if you see, I have just selected one frequency count. This frequency count, one DAX, on a small DAX measure, that is a sum of this total count. And in the variant table, I have created. However, we have this variant occurrence is already there. Here, from this data set, what are the reports we can create? First is our one summary report, which we can create. So, from this summary report, what we can understand for a particular gene, this is our gene and phenotype relationships. So, I've just tried to put a dynamic title here. So, and this is the number of count. If you select this table, you can find it out. This is the frequency count. That means for a particular gene, this phenotype, how many times happen? Okay, so that is the information we are getting from this report. Then we have this variant occurrence count, that means classification wise for this gene. So this is our variant classification. Then how many times this variant, this type of variant happen for this particular gene? This is the information we are getting. So we have this three variant information. We have variant classification information. So each classification for this particular gene, how many times it's happened, we can see from this report. Then we have this inheritance pattern. If you see, for this particular gene, what is the inheritance pattern? And this is the variant count we are occurrence we are happening for this inheritance pattern. So this is a summary report. Then you can have this variant distribution. For this is like for a gene, for each gene, what is the variance occurrence also happen? That is the top 10 variance count. I'm trying to find it out here. Top 10 variance count by the gene. Okay, for a particular gene, how many, what is the top 10 variance count happen? Then we have this inheritance pattern based on the variant classification, and this is the count information. So similar way, you can create another phenotype distribution, like which phenotype occurs more, the more count for a particular gene, for a overall gene area. Okay, so here I'm not, it's not filter out with any gene system, on any gene value. Okay, this is the phenotype variant relationship. This is the detailed information. So similar way, you can create multiple reports. So I've just tried to showcase like how many reports you can create, or what type of business insight you can identify from this data set. Okay, so it's like one is the gene and phenotype relationship, then gene and variant relationship, then variant and inheritance pattern relationship, then the phenotype distribution. So these are all the information is very important for this type of data set. Now this is your POC project, but it's not the end. So when you are going to implement this project for your company, for example, you are working for any pharma company and they want to implement this project in an industrialization manner. So how you will do that? You have to follow some real time project steps. What all the steps we have to follow? Let me show you those steps. So these are all the steps I've tried to put it here. First is our data loading process. So obviously we have to do the data loading process automated. For here we have the Snowflake's marketplace, but that data set can be we can get the data set from a different data source. So from that data source to this Snowflake's data storage area, or it could be a AWS S3 bucket area. So where what, and from the S3 bucket area you are trying to ingest to the Snowflake's area, all those process, then the complete transformation process, everything you have to do automatic. So for that purpose, I believe in this case it's an analytical project. Your batch processing you have to do, and that can be scheduling overnight. It can be weekly, it can be quarterly, anything. Then we have the data governance. We have to do the data governance implementation because that is very important for your future prediction modeling or AI modeling. So data governance is nowadays is very very important. Metadata management, data compliance, then policies. Then also you have to do the access control, user management, all those roles, creating the roles and user access. So all those things you have to do. And finally the monitoring the data, because we have this continuous data process, so we have to do the continuous monitoring the data. So that will come under the data orchestration. Okay. And then you I believe you will have some alert systems, like if the data loading failed, then you have to get some alert system. So that alert system will be there. And finally you can create some more reports. So I hope you understand from this POC project. If anyone is going to ask you in the interview, okay, you have done this case study, so what are the things we have to do to make it industrialize, how we can do that? So then you can go through, these are all the steps. Okay, so I'm going to write all the steps in my Medium blogs, and I'll provide the link in the video description section, so you can get all the information. Even you can get all the code from my GitHub folder. I'll share with you everything. Okay. I hope from this video you understand what all the steps you need to do your own case study project, from data source, data ingestion to data storage, then your data transformation, data visualization. So you can follow my Medium blog. I will provide the link in the description section. Also you can get the code from my GitHub folder. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.